2024 has been a great year. We've had plenty of games released to both great critical acclaim and also kind of taken the market by storm. Starting from the top of the list, Pal World, we all remember that. Helldivers 2, which still to this day, even with all the controversy behind it, still is doing really well. Stellar Blade, which obviously had everybody's eyeballs glued to their screen. Hades 2, Elden Ring, which was kind of just like an instant success. That was an obvious one. And even recently, The First Descendant and Once Human. All these games have done exceptionally well. But amongst all these golden nuggets, there are some that challenge how far low we can set the bar. I'm looking at you, Skull and Bones, the first quadruple A company. But this past week, we've had another contender challenge Skull and Bones for the badge of dishonor, that being Concord. This is Concord's Steam charts for the past week, which if you don't understand why this is such a big deal, let me tell you, this is an open beta playtest available to everybody, free to play. Guys, I don't know how I can stress that any further. This is a company that's backed by Sony, a AAA company that has spent millions of dollars. That is a live service with planned weekly cinematic releases. Everything that you can expect from a AAA company and more was put into this game, meaning millions and millions of dollars behind this company and game. And it is wild to see that I had more subs than this game's 24-hour peak. That is insane to me. By the way, go ahead and subscribe so we can widen that gap even further. I don't think I've ever seen or I can think of a game that flopped as hard as this game has. I mean, even Suicide Squad did much better than this on release, and Suicide Squad had a bunch of different things going on behind it. I mean, this game's failure is something that interests me and something that needs to be studied and investigated further, because I think that this is something that 10 years from now people are going to look back on, and teachers in elementary schools and middle schools are going to give to their students as like a historical report, like report on the failure of Concord. Because these numbers, man, holy crap, this is bad. So I spent a while trying to figure out what went wrong with this game, to figure out like how does one company, how does a game fail this hard? It's easy to look at the Steam. I don't want to jump in right off the bat and look at SteamDB's player numbers and just like make a judgment based off of one singular number, because that's like the common thing to do nowadays. Everybody just looks at numbers and judges the game based off how many people are playing it currently. To understand this whole situation, we needed to understand the company behind Concord, which is this company right here, Fireworks Studios. Fireworks Studios was acquired actually by PlayStation back in February 2022, which they were planning to release 10 live service games by March 2026. For a second, I just want to stress that 10 live service games by 2026 is an insane number. I mean, the point of a live service is to have the game stand on its own feet and be long lasting. So 10 within a span of like 4 years, we're already into 2024. We're already well done with 2024, and like I don't know how many they've released, but that is a big number. Anyways, and of course it is heavily inspired by Overwatch 2. You can tell from the way the characters are designed, the way the characters are so quirky, the gameplay mechanics, the different character abilities. You can tell this game is heavily inspired by Overwatch 2. And if you kind of mishmash clips of both games together into some kind of like a montage, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell which game was which. You'd probably think it's all Overwatch. You'd probably all think it's one game. But what kind of game is Concord? Concord is a 5v5 team-based hero shooter. ... Because there's a part of that equation that's kind of missing when I was looking at the game. It looks to me like Concord just doesn't know what kind of game it wants to be. There are multiple different game modes spread out across, and you can play any one of them. None of the game modes seem to be the premier game mode. Like, this is our game mode that we want to focus on, and this is like what ranked is going to be. There are nothing like that. They're just like, it's all over the place. There's team deathmatch, there's like a bomb defusal, one life game mode, there's like a freaking free-for-all type thing. There are just a bunch of different game modes. I mean, again, it is kind of an open beta, but still just being all over the place and not having a clear vision of what the game is meant to be just leads me to put that ... Like, hero shooter what? I don't understand, like, what is this hero shooter? I mean, there are several different factors in this game that are like, you can tell it's heavily inspired from Overwatch. I mean, there's a character that's basically Tracer. I mean, looks like Tracer, moves like Tracer, abilities are just like Tracer. Like, if it is competing with Overwatch 2, if it is meant to look like Overwatch 2 and play like Overwatch 2, then why would people play this game? Like, why would someone stop playing Overwatch 2 or Valorant just to come to your game? I mean, the way it works is if you want customers to come to your product, and in this case, the product is the game, then you have to do one of three things, or, you know, multiple of these three things. The first being, you have to do something different. You have to disrupt the market. The finals is a perfect example of this with their unique destruction system that hasn't been seen in any other online FPS game before, and their unique game mode. Like, they're doing something different that nobody else does. And is CONCORD doing anything different here? To be honest, I didn't see anything that's different. There might have been small, minor differences or something like that, but I didn't see anything major that stuck out to me like, oh, this is a completely separate game. Or another option on the list is you can do something better. Valorant is the example for this, even though Valorant qualifies for doing something different as well. Valorant, their anti-cheat and matchmaking system is more than enough to draw in a lot of CS2 players. Still, to this day, Valorant's matchmaking system and anti-cheat system is the bar in FPS titles, I think. And third on the list, you can do something, the convenience factor. You can save someone either time, money, or make their life easy. You can, for example, take your 5-gallon jugs to the closest Walmart or gas station or water fill-up service around you, load up that jug, put in the $1.25, which it used to be 75 cents, load up that jug, wait for it to fill up, then take that jug out, put it on the ground, put your new jug in there, and then take that filled up jug, put it in the car, seat belt it, buckle it in together so it doesn't fall all over the place and spill all over your car, and then wait for the last one to fill. You can do all that, or you can just call a company like Sparklets and have them hand deliver that water to you to your front door for a minor fee. And hey, also, if you need a water dispenser, you can get one from there as well. You're saving the customer either time, money, or you're just giving them a convenience factor. Which one of these boxes is CONCORD checking? Because I don't see any checks here. I mean, there might be slight checks, like a minor faded little check mark here and there, but I don't see anything for them to draw customers away from what they already play, being Overwatch, Valorant, or Apex Legends, whatever hero shooter they would be coming from, which is leading to a lot of people online saying that this game is generic as hell. There's nothing different. It's just a cookie cutter hero shooter. Just cut and paste and make the characters quirky and put pronouns in front of their names, and then there you go, you have a hero shooter. I will say this, there are several things about the game that looked great and I wanted to try. I just didn't know the beta was happening at the time. The gunplay looks buttery smooth, the hit reg, the fundamentals of an FPS look to be there. And the cinematics, don't even get me started on the cinematics. I, for one, am a person who plays the game for the cinematics. Like Call of Duty, I prefer the campaign over the multiplayer. And the fact that they were gonna do one every week at the quality that they were planning was insane. That was nuts. So if you lay everything out, the fundamentals of an FPS is there, just not anything more really. But I don't think it stops there. I don't think the game just being generic is the reason why it failed. I mean, there's probably examples out there of games being super generic, but yet still managed to get better numbers than what CONCORD had. So I'm still not convinced that it's because the game is generic. And when I was thinking about like why the game failed, I remember the time when someone in our Discord server, Grant, he posted up a video about CONCORD. He's like, this completely flew over my radar. And then it hit me. Then I realized, oh, I know why this game failed. I see it now. Everything kind of made sense at that time. Because when this game was first initially announced and like showcased to the world, it was at like Sony's, their version of E3, the state of play. This is where it initially first was announced. When it was announced, we were sitting in the Discord waiting for the new season of the finals to be announced as well and the trailer to be showcased. And in the meantime, the trailer for CONCORD kind of appeared on the screen and we started watching it and nobody knew what the hell we were watching. Nobody had any clue. The trailer looks incredible. It looks sick. I was intrigued. I was like, yo, this looks awesome. What is it? What is it? What is it? I wanted to know, but I couldn't tell. It just like, to me, it just looked like some random Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff or knockoff or something like that. And in fact, Moist Critical somehow realized that this was a hero shooter and like called it.
Wait, what? Where's the This is gonna be a hero shooter, I'm calling it.
Like, I don't know how he saw. The guy's a freaking genius, but right then and there, I remembered a quote from, I think it was either Asmongold or it was Shroud, saying that usually when a game is showcasing a live cinematic to showcase the game and not showing gameplay footage, it's usually because they're hiding something. Either they're hiding something or they're trying to glaze up the game to make it look better than it actually is. And then it all clicked and made sense to me. If the game itself was extraordinary and worth it and worth the play, there would have been no need for the cinematic and they could have just showcased the gameplay in itself and people would have wanted to play just then and there. But instead it was masked by this extremely well-produced cinematic that obviously cost millions and millions of dollars. Which leads me to my final point. This is within my realm. CONCORD is within my niche. This is something I definitely would have played. I 100% would have played the beta, the free beta. I'm not going to spend money on this, but I would have played the beta. if I knew it existed. See, this is where I think the game failed. I didn't see any ads for the game, no marketing for the beta, and I am the target audience for this game. Like, I make content on this stuff. If I didn't know that the open beta was happening, then I'm pretty damn sure that a lot of other people out there felt the same exact way, as did Grand in the Discord server. The reason why I think Concord failed as hard as it did, despite being super generic and cookie cutter, is I think an extraordinary marketing flop. That, and also they're trying to charge $40 for this crap. Like, dude, come on, who are you trying to rob? Overwatch is free, dude.